Welcome viewers, this is lecture number 9 of lecture series on real analysis. In this lecture we are going to discuss uh, about convergent sequence. So concepts covered in this lecture are bounded sequence with example. We are discussing some examples related to bounded sequence, convergent sequence, the geometric approach, how we can think about convergent sequence geometrically, and after that we will discuss some examples related to convergent sequence. So in my lecture number 8 we have discussed about bounded sequence. So let us quickly revise what is how we can define bounded sequence. A sequence xn is said to be bounded sequence if there exists a positive real number m such that for all n belongs to natural number mod of xn is less than equal to m. So in term of quantifier we can write there exists m greater than 0 such that for all n belongs to natural number, mod of xn is less than equal to m. It means if we think about this geometrically, then this is a set of real number, and m and minus m lies on the real line. And what we observe, all the terms of the sequence x1, x2, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, and all the terms x for all n belongs to n, xn lies here. So if we are able to find a real number m between m and minus m, all the terms of the sequence lies between m and minus m, then we can say the sequence is a bounded sequence. In other words, we can say a sequence xn is said to be bounded sequence if it is bounded above as well as bounded below. It means that range of the sequence is bounded. Thus, a sequence xn is bounded if there exists a real number alpha and beta belongs to R, there, such that for all n belongs to natural number, the sequence, all the terms of the sequence are greater than equal to beta and less than equal to alpha. It means here alpha is the upper bound of the sequence and beta is the lower bound, or we can say alpha is the least upper bound of the sequence and beta is the greatest lower bound of the sequence. If we are able to find the upper bound and lower bound of the sequence and all the terms lies between alpha and beta, then the sequence is said to be a bounded sequence. Geometrically, what we can observe that this is set of real line, alpha and beta are two real numbers. All the terms of the sequence x1, x2, x3, and x4, x5, and so on. All the terms xn for all n belongs to n. If it lies within alpha and beta, or it may be equal to alpha or beta, then the sequence is said to be bounded sequence. So, uh, in bounded sequence, what we have to do? We have to find an upper bound as well as a lower bound. Means it is a bounded above. If the sequence is bounded above as well as bounded below, then the sequence is said to be bounded sequence. So we have to find an upper bound as well as lower bound of the sequence. So now let us discuss one example related to bounded sequence. Examine the boundedness of the sequence xn where xn is equal to 1 upon n square plus 1 upon n plus 1 ka square plus 1 upon n plus 2 ka square plus up to so on 1 upon 2n ka whole square. Now what we have to do? We have to find that all the terms, this sequence is given, so we have to find all the terms of the sequence lies uh, within two real number. It means we have to find an upper bound alpha as well as a lower bound beta such that all the terms of the sequence lies between alpha and beta. Now we have to find alpha and beta. What is alpha and what is beta? So let us quickly discuss the behavior of the term, each term. Since we know that n belongs to natural number because the domain of the sequence is a natural number, so we can pick the term from set of natural numbers. So n belongs to natural number. Okay. So n is greater than 0. Yes, we all know that the natural number is always greater than 0, or we can say n is greater than equal to 1. So if n is greater than 0, then 1 upon n is greater than 0. But 1 upon n, here 1 upon n is less than equal to 1, because when we take the reciprocal, uh, for all the term greater than 1, and this is less than 1. The all We have already discussed about these inequality in my previous lectures. So 1 upon n is greater than 0. Okay, so now next thing is, uh, since we know that n plus 1 is greater than n plus 1 is greater than n for all n belongs to natural number. So when we take the reciprocal 1 upon n plus 1, then it is less than 1 upon n. Okay, so before that, take the square of the number. If we take the square, n plus 1 ka square, then it is greater than n square for all n belongs to natural number. Now take the reciprocal 1 upon n plus 1 ka square. So it is less than 1 upon n square for all n belongs to natural number. Okay. Similarly, if we consider n plus 2, then n plus 2 is also greater than n for all n belongs to n. N plus 2 ka whole square is also greater than n for all n belongs to natural number. 1 upon n plus 2 whole square is less than it is n square. It is less than 1 upon n square for all n belongs to natural number. So we are able to define a relation between each term with 1 upon n square. Similarly, if we take n plus 3, then n plus 3 is greater than n, then what we get, n 1 upon n plus 3 ka square is also less than 1 upon n square for all n belongs to n. Continue in this way, we get n plus n plus n ka square is less than 1 upon n square for all n belongs to n. N plus n ka square means, or we can say 1 upon 2n ka whole square is less than 1 upon n square for all n belongs to n. So in now we have construct a relation of each term with 1 upon n square, but 1 upon n square is equal to 1 upon n square. First term itself equal to 1 upon n square. So we are able to derive a relation. Now these are all the calculation part, uh, how we can relate the other term with 1 upon n square. Now come to the solution. Here xn is equal to uh, xn is equal to 1 upon n square plus 1 upon n plus 1 ka square plus 1 upon n plus 2 ka square plus so on plus 1 upon 2n ka whole square. Now 1 upon n square is equal to 1 upon n square. Yes, 1 upon n plus 1 ka whole square is less than 1 upon n square. So we can say it is less than equal to, now I can write this simple here. See, less than equal to 1 upon n square. This is again 1 upon n square plus 1 upon n square plus so on plus 1 upon n square. I think all of you got how we can write this concept, this result. Now, because how many terms are there? Now next question is, how many terms are there? Because we start with n equal to 0. So when we start from 0 to 9, so 0 to 9, then there are 10 terms, because we start from 0. So here you can observe that the first term starts from n plus 0 ka whole square, 1 upon n plus 0 ka whole square. Second term is n plus 1 ka whole square. It goes to 1 upon n plus n ka whole square. So it starts from 0 and up to n. It means the number of terms, when we start from 0 to some number, the number of terms are one more than the last number. So it means there are n plus 1 number of terms. So when we add all the terms 1 by n square plus 1 by n square plus 1 by n square, it is This is equal to, now this term is equal to 1 by n square. We can write this as up to n plus 1th term, n plus 1 term. So take 1 by n square LCM, sorry, n square LCM. Then we can write 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 up to n plus 1th time, n plus 1th time. So n plus 1, when we add 1 up to n plus 1 time, it become n plus 1 upon n square, and this is equal to n upon n square plus 1 upon n square, and this is equal to 1 upon n plus 1 upon n square. Now you come to this point, because n is greater than equal to 1. So what is 1 upon n? 1 upon n is less than equal to 1 for all n. So 1 upon, if we take, it is true for all natural number, all n belongs to natural number. So it is also true for 1 upon n square, because when we take the square of natural number, it is again a natural number. So let it be some number m. So if we take m is equal to n square, then m is also a natural number, and this is also less than equal to 1 for all m greater than equal to 1. It means we can say this is less than equal to 1 plus 1. So this is equal to 2. So what we get, our xn is less than equal to 2 for all n belongs to natural number. So geometrically what we observe, that this is a set of real number, and this is our, there is a real number 2. All the terms are less than 2. All the terms of the sequence are less than equal to 2. So we are able to find alpha. Now what we have to do, we have to find beta, the lower bound of the sequence. Now we can say the sequence is bounded above. Also xn is equal to 1 upon n square plus 1 upon n plus 1 ka square plus 1 upon n plus 2 ka square plus so on, plus 1 upon n plus n ka square, or we can say 2n ka square, 2n ka square. We know that all the terms are greater than 0, because n is greater than 0. If n is greater than 0, then 1 upon n is greater than 0. So 1 upon n means it is a natural number. So here 1 upon n square is a natural number. Square of natural number is again natural number. So it is also greater than 0. It is also greater than 0. Then sum must be greater than 0. So it is greater than 0 for all n belongs to natural number. So we can say 0, or we can write 0 is less than xn for all n belongs to. Now what we observe geometrically, we can see that all the terms of the sequence are greater than 0. It means all the terms lies here. So we are able to find beta here. It means this implies that all the terms xn are greater than 0 and less than equal to 2 for all n in. Thus the sequence is, thus xn is, sequence xn is a bounded sequence. Bounded sequence. So in this way, we can find upper bound, find an upper bound and lower bound of the sequence. So this, now let us discuss about convergent sequence. Convergent sequence. A sequence xn is said to converge to a real number, or we can say converge to a number L belongs to R, the real number R, if for any given epsilon greater than 0, it is however small, there exists a positive real number or positive integer, there exists a positive integer, or we can say m belongs to positive integer, m belongs to natural number. This depend upon epsilon, depending upon epsilon. This integer depend upon epsilon such that mod of xn minus l is less than epsilon, such that for all n greater than equal to m, mod of xn minus l is less than epsilon. Or in term of a quantifier, given any epsilon greater than 0, there exists m belongs to natural number such that mod xn minus l is less than epsilon for all n greater than equal to. Or in term of let us think about this geometrically. What we get, this is a set of real numbers, a sequence xn set to converge to a number l. L be any real number, there exists given any epsilon greater than 0. So if we take epsilon be any positive real number, then l plus epsilon lies here and l minus epsilon lies left to the l. So what we observe, given epsilon greater than 0, there exists a positive integer. अब एक इंटीजर ऐसी एक नंबर ऐसा मिलने वाला है या एक रियल नेचुरल नंबर ऐसा मिलेगा जिसके बाद की सारी टर्म जो है वो सीक्वेंस की सारी टर्म इस इंटरवल के अंदर आएंगे, एल माइनस एप्सिलॉन और एल प्लस एप्सिलॉन में लाई करेंगे. अब कैसे वो देखेंगे कि हमारे पास सीक्वेंस क्या है, सीक्वेंस एक्स एन है. एक्स एन को हम लिख सकते हैं दैट इज इक्वल टू एक्स वन, एक्स टू, एक्स थ्री, एक्स एम माइनस वन, एक्स एम प्लस वन, एक्स एम प्लस टू, एक्स एन, और up to so we can say this up to so. तो अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस डेफिनेशन क्या होगा कि हमारे पास कुछ टर्म ऐसी हैं m n ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू m, मतलब m से पहले की कुछ टर्म ऐसी हैं जो इस इंटरवल के अंदर नहीं आ रही. मतलब हो सकता है x1 हमारा यहाँ हो सीक्वेंस का, x2 यहाँ लाई करता हो, x3 इस इंटरवल के बाहर यहाँ कहीं टर्म हो, x4 यहाँ हो, x5 यहाँ हो, x6. इन दिस वे वी डोंट नो कि वो टर्म्स कहाँ होंगी, बट लेट अस कि वो जो टर्म है m नंबर ऑफ टर्म्स, इवन अगर एक्स एम माइनस वन लाइज हियर. लेकिन व्हाट वी गेट आफ्टर mth टर्म, जैसे ही mth टर्म हम फाइंड आउट करेंगे तो mth टर्म कहाँ लाई करेगी, mth टर्म लाइज हियर. it means it lies within the interval. तो m माइनस वन नंबर ऑफ टर्म्स तो इस इंटरवल के बाहर है, बट जैसे ही हम xm की बात करेंगे वो xm टर्म जो है वो अब इस इंटरवल में आएगी. उसके बाद क्या होगा, वो सारी xm प्लस वन, xm प्लस टू, xm प्लस थ्री एंड so on, all the terms of the sequence lies in this interval. So if all the terms after m number of terms, after m terms lies in this interval, then we say that the sequence is converging to a point L. You try to think again what we get, that for given any epsilon greater than 0, you can take any positive real number, there exists a positive integer m, or we can say there exists a natural number m belongs to m depend upon epsilon. This m depend upon epsilon such that we will discuss in example how this m depend upon epsilon, such that mod xn minus m, xn और उस l का जो डिफरेंस होगा that must be less than epsilon. वो तो उनका, इफ दिस इज एप्सिलॉन, दिस इज एप्सिलॉन, सो उन टर्म्स का एक्शन का और एल का जो डिफरेंस होगा दैट मस्ट बी लेस देन एप्सिलॉन, देन वी से दैट द सीक्वेंस आर converging to a point L, or the number L is called the number L is called the limit of the sequence Xn, and we write limit n goes to infinity Xn is equal to L. So in other words, we can say, therefore if limit n goes to infinity Xn is equal to L, then any interval, any, we can say any neighborhood L minus epsilon and L plus epsilon of L, any neighborhood L minus epsilon comma L plus epsilon of L contains all terms of the sequence Xn except a finite number of terms. तो L माइनस एप्सिलॉन और L प्लस एप्सिलॉन आप देखो इसमें ये कितने टर्म्स कंटेन कर रहा है, आफ्टर m टर्म्स ऑल द टर्म्स लाइज विद इन दिस इंटरवल, बट कितनी टर्म इसमें इंटरवल में नहीं आ रही है, कौन कौन सी टर्म इस इंटरवल में नहीं है, वो सारी टर्म्स x1 x2 x3 x4 अप टू सो ऑन xm minus 1, तो दीज आर फाइनाइट नंबर ऑफ टर्म्स, कौन कौन सी हैं, एक्सेप्ट द फाइनाइट नंबर ऑफ टर्म्स, यस x1 x2 x3 and up to so on, yes xm minus 1, so these are m minus 1 finite number of terms that lies outside the interval, outside the neighborhood. So for some this m belongs to natural number, or this is a very important note, you can think about this, that what we observe, that if we if we consider the sequence, so if tail of the sequence lies after m minus 1th term lies in the interval L minus epsilon and L plus epsilon, then again we can say the sequence is convergent sequence. If sequence xn converging to L converges to a real number L, then we want that the entire tail after m minus 1th term lies in the interval L minus epsilon L plus epsilon. How we can say the tail lies in this, after m minus 1 term tail lies in this interval, yes, if this is the sequence, this is the sequence, This is our first term x1, this is second term x2, this is third term x3, this is fourth term x4, this is fifth term x5, and after this is xm minus 1, and then xm, and so on, xm plus 1, and so on. These are all the terms. If we take a neighborhood at that point of radius epsilon, then what we observe, around the point L of epsilon radius, the all the terms lies in the, yeah, or we can say the tail of the sequence. This is the tail of the sequence. The tail of the sequence lies in the interval L minus epsilon and L plus epsilon. If this happen, then we can say the sequence is said to be a convergent sequence. So you can think about the sequence, convergent sequence, geometrically. This will really help you to understand the concept. Otherwise you just cram the definition, and again there is a lot of confusion. How we can pick this positive integer m, what happen after m terms, why we take n greater than equal to m. So try to think about this geometrically. So let us discuss one example using definition. We have to show that limit n goes to infinity, 1 upon n is equal to 0. We have to show that this sequence. So here xn is given. Here xn is 1 upon n. So this sequence is converging to point L, point 0. So we can say L is equal to 0. So by definition, for epsilon greater than 0, given epsilon greater than 0, there exists a positive integer m belongs to natural number such that mod xn minus L, but we have to prove that this is less than epsilon for all n greater than equal to L. Now here given mod xn is 1 upon n minus L is 0. So we can take mod xn minus L. This is equal to this. Now this is nothing but mod 1 upon n, because n is a natural number. So we can mod of positive number is again positive. Now here what we I directly write this is less than epsilon. This is 1 upon n, n is less than epsilon. This is because by Archimedean property. Archimedean property. When I discuss about Archimedean property, then at that time I use one point that we will use the definition of, we will use the Archimedean property when we talk about convergence. How we can use, what is Archimedean property? For all xy belongs to real number with x greater than 0, there exists n belongs to natural number such that n into x is greater than y. So कोई भी पॉजिटिव रियल नंबर y आप सेलेक्ट करो और एक पॉजिटिव रियल नंबर x लो, तो उस x के कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग आपको एक नेचुरल नंबर मिलेगा जो n इंटू एक्स, जब हम उस नेचुरल नंबर को उस पॉजिटिव रियल नंबर से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे, देन n इंटू एक्स इज ऑलवेज ग्रेटर देन y. So if we take the particular case, if we take y is equal to 1 and x is equal to epsilon, now what happened? We get n into for epsilon greater than 0, there exists n belongs to natural number such that n into epsilon is greater than 1. We put x is equal to epsilon and y is equal to 1. We take the particular case. Okay. Now what happened? N into epsilon is greater than 1. So this implies that 1 upon or we can say epsilon is greater than 1 upon n, or we can say 1 upon n is less than epsilon. So here epsilon is greater than 0. Yes, this epsilon is greater than 0 and 1 upon n is less than epsilon. So we can take by Archimedes property, we can write that for given epsilon greater than 0, any positive real number, we can find natural number such that n into x is greater than y, or 1 upon n is less than. So it is, if it is true for 1 upon n, then it is also true for 1 upon n square, because square of natural number is again natural number. It is also true for 1 upon n plus 1, we can write this is less than epsilon, because n plus 1 is also a natural number. 1 upon n square is also a natural number, so we can write directly this is less than epsilon. 1 upon n square plus 1 is also a natural number, so this is less. So we directly use the Archimedes property, because by Archimedes property, for epsilon greater than 0, there exists n belongs to natural number such that n into x is n into epsilon is greater than 1 for particular case when we take y equal to. So now how you can think that how we can use the Archimedes property when we talk about convergence. So 1 upon n is less than epsilon. So now our purpose is we have to find a positive integer m. After what, which number, which positive integer, this sequence, the term of sequence are converging to 0. So since 1 upon n is less than epsilon, so we have to find n, or we can say 1 upon epsilon is less than n. So or n is greater than 1 upon epsilon. If we choose this number as m, if we choose this number as m, then we can say that after m, if m is equal to 1 upon epsilon, after n greater than equal to m, mod of xn minus l is less than epsilon for all n greater than m. So in this way we are able to uh, find out a positive integer m. Now come to the point, epsilon, how this m depend upon epsilon. If we take particular case, if we take epsilon is equal to 1 upon 10. Now 1 upon 10 is greater than 0. Yes, now we have to find a positive integer कि कौन से नंबरों के बाद ये जो टर्म है वो जीरो को अप्रोच करेंगे. तो हम क्या देखेंगे, व्हाट वी ऑब्जर्व कि यहाँ देखो n m m हमने क्या लिया हुआ है, n इज हियर, n इज ग्रेटर देन 1 अपॉन एप्सिलॉन, इसके बाद जो सारी टर्म है वो लेस देन मॉड एक्स एन माइनस एल लेस देन एप्सिलॉन होता है. इसका मतलब यहाँ एप्सिलॉन हमने क्या लिया हो 1 अपॉन 10, तो n ग्रेटर देन 1 अपॉन 10, 1 अपॉन 10 मीन्स दिस इज 10, सो n ग्रेटर देन 10. इसका मतलब अगर मैं इसको ज्योमेट्रिकली सोचूं तो क्या होगा, दिस इज अवर, दिस इज 0, दिस इज 1 अपॉन n. सो सीक्वेंस ये सारी टर्म कहाँ से स्टार्ट हो रही है, बिकॉज व्हेन वी पुट n इक्वल टू 1, it become 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, so all the terms lies here, right? So what we get after 10 term, it means after 1 by 10, if we take a neighborhood at point 0 of radius 1 by 10, this is 1 by 10, 0 plus 1 by 10, L plus epsilon, 0 minus 1 by 10. So after 10th term, all the 11th, 12th and up to so on, infinite terms lies in this interval. So the tail of the sequence lies in 0 minus 1 by 10 and 0 plus 1 by 10, because it is a positive term series. So it comes, जो values हैं, all the value lies between 0 and 1 by 10. So all, we can say the tail of the sequence lies in this interval. Then the sequence is said to be convergent to point. So if we take epsilon equal to 1 by 10, then m is equal to 10. मतलब m आफ्टर 11th टर्म, ये जो हमारी x11 है वो यहाँ आ गई थी, x12 है यहाँ आ गई, x13 and so on, all the terms lies here. Now if we change epsilon is equal to, if we take epsilon is equal to 1 by 100. So 1 by 100 is also greater than 0. So now according to this definition, and we have to find m. So m is equal to 1 upon epsilon. M is equal to 1 upon epsilon. So 1 upon epsilon means 1 upon 100. This is 100. So it means n greater than m. So after 100th term, अब क्या होगा, जब हमने एप्सिलॉन बदला तो अब क्या हुआ कि ये जीरो को तो कन्वर्ज कर रही है, लेकिन अब बाहर कितनी टर्म है, इसमें कितनी टर्म बाहर थी, इसमें x1 x2 x3 से लेके x10 तक टर्म जो थी वो बाहर थी, 10 टर्म बाहर थी। लेकिन अब क्या हुआ, यहाँ पर हमारी x1 से लेके x2 x3 से लेके x100 तक सारी टर्म उसके बाहर रहेंगी। लेकिन जैसे ही ये इंटरवल हमने -1 अपॉन 100, 0 -1 by 100 और 0 + 1 by 100 मीन्स 1 अपॉन 100। लेकिन जैसे ही x101 हुआ, x101 टर्म आई, वो टर्म यहाँ लाएगी, x102 वो टर्म यहाँ लाएगी, x103, x104 and all the terms of the sequence lies here. Then we can say the sequence is, the tail of the sequence lies in this interval, lies in this interval. So L minus epsilon and L plus epsilon. So we can say this sequence is converging. Now here m is equal to 100 because we take epsilon is equal to 1 by 100, so m is equal to 100. Here we take epsilon is equal to 1 by 10, so m is equal to, m is greater than 10. तो जैसे जैसे एप्सिलॉन चेंज हो रहा है वैसे वैसे m चेंज हो रहा है. It means m depend upon epsilon. But why m depend upon epsilon? First we choose epsilon. Epsilon हमने choose किया, उसके corresponding epsilon m जो है वो change होगा. Now think if we take epsilon is equal to 1 upon 499. Now what is m? M is equal to 1 upon epsilon, that is equal to 1 upon 499, so that is 499. It means after n greater than m means m is equal to 499. After 499th term, यहाँ अब क्या होगा, 499 टर्म उसके बाहर रहेंगी, इंटरवल के बाहर रहेंगी. लेकिन आफ्टर 499th टर्म ऑल द टर्म्स ऑफ द सीक्वेंस लाइज इन द इंटरवल. सो कितनी फाइनाइट नंबर ऑफ टर्म्स उस इंटरवल के बाहर रह रही हैं, x1 x2 x3 से लेके x499 तक. So here m depend upon epsilon. If we take epsilon is equal to 1 upon 5000, it is greater than 0. So now we have to find m, then m is 5000. So after 5000, the x 5000 से बाद की टर्म x5001 x5002 वो सारी क्या होंगी, वो इंटरवल के इस यहाँ पर ये 1 अपॉन, इट मीन वी कैन से x5000, ये 5000 जो टर्म है वो इस इंटरवल के बाहर रहेंगी. लेकिन जैसे ही 5001 आएगा वो यहाँ आ जाएगी यहाँ, एंड ऑल द टर्म्स lies in this interval. So what we can think, we can observe that the tail of the sequence after finite number of terms, the tail of the sequence lies within the interval. If the tail of the sequence lies in the interval, then we can say the sequence is converging to the point. So I think this is all about convergence. We have discussed about bounded sequence geometrically, and after that convergence sequence. Now try to solve some examples related to convergence sequence. We will discuss more examples related to convergence sequence in my next lecture. So thank you. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Stay healthy.